Imagine you are drowning in a completely still pond.
Oh, wow, that is a dark image right off the bat.
Right, but just think about it for a second. You do not even realize you are sinking, and you don't even try to swim.
Because the water around you is
Oh,
perfectly motionless?
exactly. Everything just feels calm.
Yeah.
And that is exactly what it feels like to lose years of your life to a completely stagnant routine.
Yeah, you simply cannot perceive the downward trajectory because, well, your environment isn't moving either.
Yeah. So, welcome to today's deep dive. Our mission today is to explore this deeply personal autobiographical narrative from a 78-year-old man named John.
And it is such a fascinating story.
It really is. He was quite literally sleeping his life away in that exact kind of pond. But we are going to unpack how a single, brutal, five-word sentence from his uncle completely rewired his life trajectory.
Yeah, from totally aimless to a life full of purpose.
Right, and we want to extract the exact blueprint he used so that you, listening right now, can apply it. Because, I mean, look at the world today. We are so obsessed with complex productivity hacks.
Oh, absolutely. The apps, the 10-step routines.
Yeah, it is like we are looking for this incredibly complicated map when we really just need a basic compass.
That is a great analogy.
So let's unpack this. Why does a brutally simple five-word sentence sometimes hit so much harder than a massive self-help book?
Well, profound life changes rarely start with complex systems. They almost always start with a sudden, jarring shift in perspective,
Right. And to understand that shift, we have to look at John's baseline at the time.
which was not great.
Not great at all. In his own words, he woke up late every day, he played games all day long.
He actually noted that he laughed a lot, but he learned absolutely nothing.
Yeah, which is such a striking way to put it. He wasn't reading, he wasn't working, and he certainly wasn't thinking about his future.
Every single day was just a carbon copy of the one before it. He was entirely aimless.
But then his uncle comes to visit for the weekend, and this is where the bubble just completely bursts.
Yeah, because a stagnant routine requires a sudden external shock, to create that internal dissonance.
And the shock he got was so austere. So the uncle is this quiet, serious man. He comes in, sits down, and looks John directly in the eyes.
Right.
And John just smiles at him. But the uncle does not smile back. He just delivers this one line: "Don't waste your time."
Just those 5 words.
Just those five words. And then he simply walks away. I mean, no grand lecture, no big "when I was your age" story.
Nothing.
Now, I have to be honest here. It is like dropping a heavy stone into a perfectly stagnant pond. The splash forces you to actually look at the water. But isn't it kind of harsh?
How do you mean?
Well, just dropping that heavy critique and walking away without offering any real help, it feels almost unhelpful.
What's fascinating here is that the lack of a lecture is exactly what made those words inescapable.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, think about the psychology of brevity. If the uncle had sat down and lectured him, John could have argued back.
Right. His brain would have immediately gone on the defensive.
Exactly. He would have found an excuse, told himself times are different now, protecting his ego. But you cannot argue with silence.
Wow. Yeah. The silence just left him completely alone with his own conscience.
Precisely. And we see that in his reaction. He said those words played in his head like a song on repeat for days.
Yeah, he suddenly realized he was literally losing hours of his life. And the main emotion he felt wasn't motivation, it was just sadness.
Which is really the most authentic starting point for real change.
But sadness fades. Right, motivation fades. How do you go from just wanting to change to actually changing?
You need a system. The initial shock isn't enough. You have to translate that abstract motivation into daily reality.
And Joe did that in the simplest way possible. He just wrote three things on a piece of paper and put it on his wall.
3 incredibly basic rules.
Right. Number 1, wake up early. Number 2, read every day. And number 3, write one idea.
That is it. No complex trackers.
No, but even with those simple rules, he struggled so much. He talks about how hard waking up was that first week. His bed felt so warm and soft.
Oh, we all know that exact feeling.
Right. But he forced himself to get up, look at the sky, and breathe the clean morning air. And he said that gave him a quiet mind and actual energy.
Well, getting outside like that acts as a sensory shock.
Ah.
It pulls the nervous system out of that groggy state.
Yeah. And then his second rule was reading. Now, he used to hate books. He thought they were boring.
So he started small.
Really small.
Hmm?
1 page, then 2 pages, then 5. And he specifically read about hard workers to gain hope.
He was basically gathering evidence for his brain that a better life was actually possible.
Yeah. But here's where it gets really interesting. Because the third rule, writing, was the hardest part for him.
Oh, writing is incredibly difficult when you are just starting out.
Yeah, his hand was slow, his words were simple. Sometimes he wrote about dreams or fears, but sometimes he just wrote a single word.
Just one word.
Yeah, and I have to push back on this a bit. If his hand was that slow and he only wrote a single word, is that even really writing?
I mean, in a traditional sense, maybe not.
Right, so how does writing one single word actually help someone change their life?
Well, the act of writing forces self-reflection. It is not about producing a masterpiece.
Okay.
Even a single word defeats the paralysis of perfectionism. It forces you to take a messy thought and pin it down into reality.
So it is just about proving to yourself that you can do it.
Exactly. It helps you understand what you actually want from life.
Wow. And doing these three things completely shifted his behavior. He started talking less and listening more to experienced people.
Because once you build positive habits, you establish a baseline.
Right. It is like finally cleaning one room in a really messy house. Suddenly the dirt in the hallway becomes glaringly obvious.
That is a perfect way to put it. Adding good habits naturally forces an audit of how the rest of your time is spent.
Yeah. And that led him into this phase of ruthless subtraction. He watched less TV, used his phone less.
He even actively stayed away from people who just laughed all day but did nothing.
Yeah. And he adopted this very strict new rule. He said, if something is not useful, I will not do it.
Which is a massive shift from his old life.
It is. But so what does this all mean? If something isn't useful, he won't do it. Doesn't that sound a bit extreme?
In what way?
Like if we treat time like gold, do we lose the ability to just relax and be human? Do we just become productivity robots?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, protecting your time isn't about becoming a robot at all.
Okay, then what is it about?
It is about setting boundaries against things that actively drain you. There is a huge difference between resting and mindlessly numbing yourself.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, he wasn't avoiding genuine joy. He was cutting out the mindless distractions so he could actually find joy in simple things.
Like reading a good page or writing a clear sentence.
Exactly.
And around this time, his uncle actually returns. He sees John's notebook. He nods and he just says, good.
Such a powerful moment of validation.
It really is. And it prompts John to write a list of 5 simple dreams. Finish a book, learn a skill, speak better, help someone, and feel proud.
He really understood that time is like gold. You can lose money and make it again, but time is gone forever.
Gone forever. But, personal growth and isolation eventually hits a ceiling.
It always does.
Yeah, John's internal clarity inevitably spilled over into his external environment. He started sharing his story and his uncle's words with others who felt lost.
Which is such a vulnerable thing to do.
It is. Some people listened, but a lot of people actually laughed at him.
Of course they did.
Which raises the question, why keep sharing? If people are laughing at you, why not just keep your head down and focus on your own list of 5 dreams?
This raises an important question about the necessity of community.
Yeah.
You have to risk the laughter of those who just talk but never work. It is the only way to find the right people.
Oh, I see. Like filtering out the noise.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And sharing the story reinforces John's own commitment to it. Plus, like John noted, even one sentence can open a door in someone else's mind.
Just like his uncle did for him.
Right.
Yeah.
Precisely. It is a ripple effect.
And he did find his people. He joined a class, learned from teachers, and found a whole community of people who wanted to grow.
He discovered he didn't need to travel far or buy expensive things to be happy.
Right. He found joy in just helping a friend.
It is such a grounded way to live.
It really is. And that brings us to the ultimate takeaways for you, the listener. The blueprint is clear.
Very clear.
Do not wait for the perfect time because it simply does not come. The best time is now.
You do not have to be perfect on day one. You just have to begin.
Yeah, just begin. So I want to ask you directly the exact questions John poses at the end of his story.
These are powerful.
What are you doing with your time? Are you building something? Are you learning something? Or are you wasting your days?
You have to be honest with yourself.
You do, because your answer shows your future.
And if I can leave you with one final thought to mull over.
Please do.
John's story shows that time is really our biggest test. But if time is indeed our biggest test, perhaps the grading isn't based on how much we continuously achieve.
Oh, that is interesting.
Yeah, maybe it is based on how conscious we are of where our minutes go. What if the real waste of time isn't resting or taking a break, but simply living on autopilot?
Wow. Living on autopilot. That is exactly what that stagnant pond is.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for breaking this down with me. And to everyone listening, don't waste your time. Take that one small step today. We will catch you on the next deep dive.